This is Shred, and today we're going to plunge deep into the music theory behind neoclassical metal. Essential scales like Harmonic Minor and Phrygian dominant, a hybrid picking etude, basic harmony with the 1, 4, and 5 chords, and more advanced harmonic devices like secondary dominants and cadential 6/4 chords. Now the full tabs for everything I play in this video will be available at my Patreon page below. So grab your axe and let's get to it. Now to start, I want to lay some basic groundwork for the neoclassical style with an etude. We're in the key of A minor, and I'll be using hybrid picking technique. So let's break down this neoclassical etude. I'm using hybrid picking technique, which means I'm using my pick and my fingers. And the first chord is an A minor. So on the A string, you're using your pick, and on the D string, you're plucking with your middle finger. And then hammering on and pulling off. And that's the whole technique behind the etude. Alright, so that's the 1 chord, then it moves to the 4 chord D minor. And I'm barring on that 12th fret here. And then it goes down to the 14th fret, creating like a D minor 9 sound. Next we move to a G sharp diminished, or you could see it as an extension of an E7 chord. And we've got the notes G sharp, B, and D. Now, here comes the fun part. We move to the cadential 6/4 chord, which always creates a wonderful opportunity for tension and release. So it's an A minor, but over an E. So we got E, A, C, A. And then we move that down a half step on the D string to the 9th fret. And then an E major. And this is really an essential part of the neoclassical style, creating that tension and release through the cadential 6/4 chord, moving to the 5 with a dominant harmony. And at the end, there's just a little tapping lick on the 1 chord. So really, I'm just playing one basic sequence of notes, A, B, C, E, but I'm repeating it in 3 octaves. So I'll leave the tab for that etude on my Patreon page. The link will be in the description. Now let's talk about the 2 most important scales you need for neoclassical metal. The first is Harmonic Minor. Now this scale is by far the most important, and it's going to get you through 90+% of neoclassical music. The reason it's so important is because of the raised 7th degree. And what that does is allow us to have a major 5 chord. And the reason that's so important is because it creates this wonderful tension that builds back to the 1. If you didn't raise the 7th degree, you'd have this sound for the 5 chord. Right here. And that would be an Aeolian or natural minor sound, and it just doesn't have the same pull and push and tension pushing towards the 1. Now the second most popular scale in the genre is the Phrygian dominant mode, and this is a mode of the harmonic minor scale. It's the 5th mode. So if we're hearing A harmonic minor, the Phrygian dominant mode is going to start on the 5th degree, but like I said, you're going to play the same notes. Of course, one Yngve J. Malmsteen is quite fond of this scale. I just wish I had some donuts to snack on during quarantine. When you eat all the pizza. Now let's talk about the harmonic devices used in neoclassical metal. A good place to start with this topic is to learn some neoclassical cadences. This provides you with a quick harmonic snapshot of the style in just a 3-chord progression. So the first chord we had is an A minor over C with the note C, A, E. And then you go to D minor in root position, D, A, F, back to the A minor over C, and then a B over E, which is spelled B, G sharp, and E. And all we're going to do throughout this exercise is play that same 1, 4, 5 progression, but moving it up the neck in inversions. So the next one here is A minor over C to D minor over F, back to A minor over C to E, back to the 1. That one is so pleasing for some reason. And the last one, A minor root position, D minor over A, back to A minor root position, 5 chord or E over G sharp, leading back to the 1. Now another great way to work on your neoclassical harmony is to take a pedal tone or a repeating open string and play the primary chords over top. Got an A minor, D minor over F, and then an E over G sharp, back to the 1, A minor, D minor over A, E over B, A minor over C, D minor, root position, E, and then you're finally back to an A minor. The reason that pedal tone is important is because it really provides the context and the foundation for the sound. And actually, more than anything, it's an ear training exercise. It's really going to train you to focus and concentrate on the tonic note. Now let's talk about some more advanced harmonic devices in the neoclassical sound. First up is secondary dominance. So if we're in the key of A minor, the 1 chord is A minor. Now to find the 5 chord, you've got to go up 5 notes from an A. A, B, C, D, E. So E is the 5 chord. Now the 5 of the 5 chord, you go up 5 notes from the 5. So if we're on E, which is the 5, E, F, G sharp, A, B. So B major is the 5 chord. And this sounds great in a progression. And then that secondary dominant wants to go to the 5, right? So you got A minor, D minor, the 5 of 5, or B, and then E, or the 5, and that wants to go back to 1. Come on, guys. It's not rocket science. Come on. It's not music theory. Now, another really common harmonic device in the neoclassical sound is the Neapolitan chord. Now, the Neapolitan chord is built a half step up from the root. So if the root is A minor, go up a half step from A, and you get a B flat chord. and that's a Neapolitan. A lot of times you'll see it as a Neapolitan 6, which means that it's in first inversion, or B flat over D. But you always lead that to the 5 chord, or back to the 1 actually, and that creates a pleasing effect. Carrie, no, don't. All right, it's solo time. Oh. Okay, secondary diminished 7th chords. This is a very important concept in the neoclassical sound. Everybody uses diminished chords, right? So a secondary diminished 7th chord can be put anywhere right before a chord in the key. So let's say A minor is in the key of A minor, right? Obviously. You could go down a half step from A to G sharp and play a fully diminished 7th chord and then resolve it back. Sounds good, right? Let's take the 4 chord, or D minor. Same thing here. You could precede it with a fully diminished 7th chord down a half step and then resolve it. Or from the 5, secondary diminished 7 of 5. This is a great way to build tension. Obviously we're familiar with Yngwie sweeping these chords, but try slowing them down and putting them into a slower chord progression. Now, another great way to work on neoclassical mastery is to read it. This is Mauro Giuliani's Complete Studies for Classical Guitar, a book Randy Rhoads likely would have had. And it starts with his infamous 120 arpeggio exercises. And these are actually great exercises just for getting your reading chops down. I've transcribed the first 10 and I'll leave them in the description below. There's also really musical etudes in here as well. I've got my favorites. Andantino number 7 is one of my favorites, and I've transcribed the entire piece. It's only a page, but there's a lot of notes. I'll leave the tab for that in the description below as well. Hopefully you have a better idea of how to create the neoclassical sound after watching this video. Obviously this is a very deep topic, and what I might do is like a part 2 and part 3 even, so that we can go even deeper into these various elements of the sound. Not gonna lie, I've been studying Mozart's Requiem recently, and I've been picking up a lot of cool chord voicings and neoclassical ideas. So stay tuned for that. Get the tab for everything I played in this lesson at my Patreon page below. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Actually, a better place to ask me questions is on Instagram though. I'm much more active in engaging with my viewers. Until next time, shred till you're dead. Don't call it metal. It's technical progressive post-metalcore.